That's a perfectly good griddle. Do not throw this away. I'm gonna show you how to restore this grill. It's been sitting since August of last year. There's rust, grime, all kinds of food leftover particles. Let's clean this thing up and restore it to brand new. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this on. We're gonna set it to low. I've had the heat on low for about 4 minutes, and the first thing that I wanna do is I wanna pour a little bit of water all over the grill. And I wanna know where the bad spots are and how much elbow grease that we need to put onto it. Just a scraper. And we're just basically gonna scrape away all of the gunk that's on the grill. And make sure that your grease trap is empty. So you can tell I got a lot of that already scraped up with food particles, oil, maybe a little bit of rust. And we're just gonna put that down into the grease catch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep repeating that process until I can get as much off as possible. The thing is you've got to scrape the sides too. So I've switched little scrapers and I'm getting the sides. So let's get all that gunk and water. So I've poured about 2 cups of water on here and scraped as much as I could off of the first surface. And then we're just gonna repeat the process so that we can get this trough right here. And also I did turn off the heat, and then we'll turn it back on in a few minutes. Just keep scraping to get it off as much as the grit and grime as possible. And don't forget, we're gonna hit the sides one more time as well. Now let's get rid of the water down into the trough. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get a paper towel and wipe it down so that I can see what part of the surface I've got to work with and on. I can tell right away I've got a lot of patches. I don't really see any rust that's gone through the steel. However, right here, the trough, I do see a little bit of rust form. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some sandpaper and water. I've got some 180 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna use a little bit of water. And the reason I'm doing that is because if you look at the edges, they are pointed and you can't hit the rounded parts of the grill. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back on low. Pour a little bit of water on the area where we're gonna work. And with this particular grill, you've got a hole right here and there's no heat really because the griddle flames run this way. So right here, you won't see any heat. So you're gonna have to use a little bit more elbow grease. A little bit more water. And just keep sanding until you get all those spots, especially on the curved parts. So I've got the grill on low. We've cleaned our trough. We haven't wiped it down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the piece of sandpaper with some water. I'm gonna get the edges. We go all the way across. Gonna be tough to get in there. See that rust spot? Let's not forget about that. So let's wipe down the grill really good with some water now that it's good and warm. You don't have to use a paper towel like I am, but I just like to see how much is coming off. That's the only reason why. Just wipe it down and get rid of all the water and all of the grime and the grit. So I haven't used any abrasive cleaners yet, just water, sandpaper, and a scraper. That's it. That's the only thing I've used so far. Just keep wiping to see what you're left with. See that right there? It's not as dirty as we first started. Man, even the trough or the drain right here is coming out pretty darn good. Look and see how comparable what it was when we started cleaning up. It was all black. Most every bit of the water off the grill. And you can see, man, that's a lot better than what it was. We're on a low heat, got the grill clean for the most part. We're gonna go down with a little bit of oil, salt. This is more an abrasive, this is sea salt, but it's coarse, just like kosher salt. We're gonna take a potato. See what we're working with on the surface. I've been scraping this for just a couple of moments, and you can tell basically right here before we actually even clean it, there's really not much rust. We're getting this top layer of grime off. There might be a little bit of rust, but we're just going to continue using the potato, the salt, and the oil, and we're going to cover the entire surface of the griddle, even the sides right here. And then we're going to rinse it with water. All right, I'm just gonna use a little bit of water. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use a paper towel. I'm gonna scrape everything that I've cleaned off down into the drain. All right, so I'm gonna try something a little bit different. Will you hand me that salt? We're still on a low heat, and as you can tell, I've cleaned very well with salt and oil and a potato on this side versus that side that's not been cleaned. We're pretty much down almost to the original steel, but we still got a little bit of work left to do. So what I'm gonna take is just some salt, a little bit of lemon juice, and another potato. See what we can do to that surface. See what the acid is doing? It's going down to the original steel, taking off that top coat of oil that was there. Then next, I'm gonna take a little bit of sandpaper, just to make sure the surface is even. All right, so you can tell a big difference. Now I'm just gonna get some water. Make sure that I break up the salt and the lemon juice. All right, now I'm just gonna wipe it down really good. Man, I want you to look at that surface. Man, we got it nice and clean. Next step on this side, we'll be ready to season it. The grill looks beautiful. We've used no abrasive cleaners whatsoever. I'm back down basically to the original steel. I'm gonna repeat the process for this side. Then we're gonna come back and season the grill. Re-season to where it's brand new. When you're cleaning your grill, when you're going through this much water and liquid, you wanna make sure that you keep the drain emptied. Otherwise, it's going to overflow all on your pavement or your concrete. Next step, what I'm going to do is I turn the heat on medium-low, and we've broken it down to pretty much the original surface before it was actually seasoned. So just to ensure that there's no fibers from the paper towels, I'm going to use a regular towel, a cotton towel. I'm going to put some water on here. It's kind of like a final cleaning before we season it, and just scrub all the sides and everywhere. Now I want to get rid of any kind of residue from paper towels or any last remnants of any of our salt, lemon juice, or oil. or potato. All right, last step before we actually season, we're gonna take a little bit of soap. We're just gonna use some Dawn Power Wash. And what that's gonna do is gonna make sure that we break up anything that's left on the surface before we actually put some oil on the griddle. Flattop King advised me on that part. High heat, we're gonna take some oil and we're just gonna coat every part of the griddle. Even those little screws in the back. The edges, the outside of the griddle, you want every part of that surface covered. All right, next step, we're gonna let that burn in for 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes, so we're gonna burn more oil in. You can tell how it's starting to get dark brown. Just coat your surface everywhere. Remember the sides, the screws, everywhere. We're gonna let that go for 10 minutes. You can tell the surface has been burned in pretty well, so we're gonna hit it with another light coat of oil, and we're gonna let that one burn off, and then we will have attained what we're looking for on this particular grill. One more burn off, and then we're ready to cook. After about 45 minutes to an hour, we're all burnt in with 3 coats of oil. You can see how we've got a dark brown cover or a dark brown surface where it's going borderline from dark brown to getting a little bit black. You can see the edges where it's really not burnt in. That's just gonna take a little bit of time as we continue to cook on this thing. So that's it. We took this grill looking like it was in shambles and needed to be tossed to brand new, perfection, pristine griddle. So thanks for watching, and if this video was helpful to you guys, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and make a comment. Tell me what I did right in your eyes or did wrong in your eyes. Maybe something I can improve upon on my next video in general, or right here on Griddle Cleaning and Reseasoning. Thanks for watching, you guys.